Another successful day on the recruiting trail. I'd call it 19 commitments, holding on to the number 19 spot in the Rivals.com recruiting rankings. We all know that's always a fluid thing. Still, with another signing day to go. But overall, Nebraska, they addressed their needs. They got the guys they targeted for the most part, and no drama. Weren't waiting for anybody, a last minute deal or anything like that, which is kind of a good thing. And I think Coach Frost even mentioned yesterday on the Big Ten Network that they were even more prepared for this signing day than they had been in the past due to the coronavirus conditions and everything. So I mean, it helps you out a lot when you get kids on campus early, which they did, and they benefited from that, and especially from a late commitment from Roquan Buckley, the defensive end. That the last visit that he took was to Nebraska back in January before things shut down. So that always helps when you can get a guy come in on his own dime and on an unofficial visit and see things, and you see it pay dividends there. But overall for the class, like a lot of size that they bring in. If you kind of look at the big guys that they brought in, it looks like a basketball roster. You got a 6'9", a 6'8", and a 6'6" offensive lineman coming in, and you got a 6'8", 6'9", and a 6'6" defensive ends coming in, and you got 3 tight ends that are all 6'6", and it looks like a basketball roster. But that's what you need. You need those big bodies, and all these guys got potential that put some weight on them and put some size on them and get them faster and stronger, and you see what they can do, coming down the pipe here in a couple of years. And obviously the bell cow is Thomas Fedoni, the tight end out of Council Bluffs, Iowa, number 1 player in Iowa. Everybody was after him, and that was another thing with the times that we're living in right now, that he grew up a Husker fan, and then he started getting all kinds of offers from, the LSUs of the world and Notre Dames and everybody. And hard to say no to Iowa especially, but, he'd been here several times, and he'd been to Iowa several times, and he, didn't have a chance to go anywhere else. So basically it came down to those 2 schools, and Nebraska did a great job of staying on him for the longest time. So, you add 2 other tight ends to him to fill out that tight end room. AJ Rollins out of Omaha Creighton Prep, 6'6". He's got some work to do, but he can help out down the road. And James Carney out of Norris, Nebraska, here out of Firth, Nebraska, Norris High School. He's a good-looking guy too. He was committed to Ohio and Frank Solich, but Nebraska came through with an offer, and he's on board here too. And I mentioned the offensive line. Teddy Prohaska, another Rivals 100 kid, 6'9". He's been committed for a long, long time. And Henry Lutofsky, a kid out of Iowa that I love a lot. He's 6'6". He'll be a guard at Nebraska. He could even play center if he wanted to. But he's a road grader. I really love that kid a lot. And Bronson Yeager's a guy that I haven't got a chance to see much of. He's out from Utah, so we didn't get a chance to go out and see him. But he's 6'8", so he's another monster on the line there. And then you have the 2 pass rushers on the defensive line, which are going to help out a lot. And a nice-looking crop of linebackers coming in that's definitely going to help out a lot too. So some good wide receivers coming in that you hope can step up and take some snaps, when we need them here coming in. And Heinrich Harburg, quarterback out of Kearney, Nebraska, Kearney Catholic. Good-looking kid, another tall 6'5", 6'6" quarterback. Typical, looks like a pro-style quarterback, but he can go both ways. He runs. He's got some speed with him. He actually plays gunner on the punt team for him, and he runs back kickoffs for him too. So he can run, and he's got a cannon for an arm. He'll be somebody that can help out down the road as well. So a lot of good pieces that they've added in here, and I like it. I like it a lot, and still got a few more spots left to go. You'll probably see, maybe 3 more, and they'll probably save about 3 for the transfer portal. And the big guy on the board that they're really looking at that is going to announce sometime, we don't know when yet, which is the linebacker out of Hawaii, the 4-star Wyndon Heuli. And hopefully he helps out and helps out Nebraska as well.
Before we pass it on to Chris, 2 things here. Number 1, leave your comments, your questions, your debate topics. We will get to them in the live chat. So college football fans, not only Nebraska fans, but we always have fans representing all fan bases out there. Just leave your comments in there. We will get to them. Number 2, before we pass it on to Chris, Greg, just a lot of people will hear the comment that you made about the one player being originally a commit to Ohio University out of the MAC. And the thought process is going to be, why are we fighting a MAC school for a player? I'll get you started by saying, go through the NFL rosters and you're going to see plenty of MAC players in the NFL. The MAC produces some tremendous talent, and we see that throughout all 10 FBS conferences. So I'll take it from there, or let you, Greg, take it from there in regards to just, I think there's a I know that there's a thought process out there when there's a certain standard of play and expectations of the team at Nebraska's level, and thinking, why are we messing around with guys that have been committed to a MAC school, for example?
Well, Nebraska traditionally it doesn't have a lot of talent coming out of the state year in and year out. And when you do have a local kid that is being interested by other schools, you have to pay attention to that. And in the past, the coaching staffs have kind of overlooked some of these kids coming out of the local product range here, and that's been a mistake on their part. You see a lot of Nebraska kids end up going to Iowa. A lot of them go to the MAC, like you say. A lot of them go to South Dakota State, North Dakota State, and are very, very successful. And, they land in the NFL too. So, recruiting's it's a funny game. It's cutthroat sometimes, and not every local kid can, grow up wanting to be a Husker. But Scott Frost and his staff, they know talent when they see it. And, we're talking about James Carney, and I'd met him, but I hadn't seen him play in person. I'm going back to like March or so, and I got to see him in a camp. There was only 2 camps that even went on this summer, and I got to see him in one, and he really, really impressed me. And he'd had a few of those small MAC offers and stuff like that, and once some people saw what he could do and saw him play in person. It was a no-brainer, easy offer kid. And I think, and especially with these times, like we've mentioned, you kind of got to stay local. Guys that can come and see your campus and can come to games. So that helps out a lot. And in saying that, Nebraska in this class in the 2021 cycle, they've got 9 kids coming in, just within like a 2-hour drive. So, you got 5 from the state of Nebraska, you got 3 from Iowa, and you got 1 from South Dakota. And, you've got to count on those kind of kids. And, there's also some other talented kids out of this region that you see. You got a Keegan Johnson who just signed with Iowa yesterday. And you've got Avante Dickerson from Omaha West Side, who is committed to Minnesota, but decided not to sign yesterday. So, and we all know Nebraska's been recruiting him heavily for a couple of years now. So you never know if that's a kid that might switch too. So you really got to protect the borders and don't let any of these kids escape, because like we've seen, they can go and they can be big impact players at other programs.
Yeah, I mean, Greg hit on a lot of things, obviously, but as far as the kids being around local too, I think obviously, a lot of the kids still grow up Husker fans, but, growing up as a kid, probably in Nebraska isn't the same right now. I mean, kids like to watch winners, and Nebraska hasn't done much of winning lately. So you see some kids that are showing interest in other big schools like Notre Dame, LSU, and kind of venturing out a bit. But I think it's important to keep even the 3-star guys in Lincoln if you can. And like Greg was alluding to, some of those big guys that have got out and had a big impact at other schools, like Noah Fant at Iowa. I mean, Iowa's been having great success with their tight ends. So I believe that James Carney, I think he had an offer from Iowa. So some of those guys I like that Nebraska just offers so that, they're not going other places. Other than that, looking around the board, really good size. Like Greg was saying, I like the length. I think Scott Frost is going for length. They need some pass rushers. So those guys on the edge they recruited hopefully can develop a little bit. And then obviously the tight end position. I think Nebraska's done a good job this season of using their tight end a little bit more too. Austin Ellen's got a lot of targets. So hopefully, Thomas can come in, make an impact, and then maybe Latrell Neville. And then there's one other tall guy, maybe Pat Payton or something. Pat Payton. So some wide receiver guys that can come in. And I like Thomas Fedone playing tight end, and maybe even just throwing him out at wide receiver once in a while too, just because going into next year, I feel like their wide receiver, their tight end, not necessarily their tight end, but their wide receiver position is going to be very much like this. It's going to be basically Wandale Robinson has experience, and besides him, it's kind of, who can step up and show that they know the offense and catch balls. So, yeah, it's like you was saying, a top 20 class. Nebraska has been consistently able to do that. But what they haven't been able to do really is develop the talent and then keep some of those big guys around and, have them, develop into players that can help the program get wins. So we'll see if Scott Frost can maybe, turn that corner a little bit and developing these classes, especially coming up. I believe 2022, I'm looking way down the road, but 2022 has a lot of big time in-state talent, especially in Omaha, I believe. So looking down the road, these next few classes, it's going to be important to lock down the borders and then just go get a couple of big time players out of the South and maybe California. But overall, they're a good class. They got Thomas Fedone, so we'll go from there.
Yeah, and I think you hit on a couple key points, and that development is now the key, but you've got the talent in the class. I'm very excited to see a guy like a Camonte Grimes. I mean, it's interesting because we were talking about that Florida recruiting dynamic and how Nebraska's been struggling to keep those guys around. And here we got another guy from Naples, Florida coming in, bigger receiver, a lot of talent. You watch his film. It's as impressive as I've seen from any of the Nebraska guys that have come in from Florida. So I'm extremely intrigued to see what happens with that. The class looks outstanding. I mean, I don't think anybody can disagree with that. And I think there's a long way to go on the class. But I think, Avante Dickerson not signing, I think that could be something, especially once the season wraps up here in a few weeks, that you could see Nebraska pushing hard until February to try to get a flip there.